What a spectacular October day in Kansas City, Kansas. Sunny, 72 degrees. As you look down on the Kansas Speedway, getting ready for race 4 in the chase and the first race in the contender round of the championship. Our aerial coverage today provided by Goodyear. Everything they learned making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Kansas City, certainly a great sports town, and it has certainly been sports crazy this week. Hosting Monday Night Football last week, and the Chiefs picking up a huge win over the Patriots. And, of course, the Royals making the baseball playoffs, winning the wild card game, and now returning home tonight for the third game of their divisional series. We tie the racing and the baseball together right now, trackside.
Here to help with today's command, please welcome Vice President and General Manager of Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway, Bob Sheldon.
Well, our team at Hollywood Casino and I are just thrilled to be part of the Kansas City community, and it's been a fantastic week for Kansas City sports fans, so I felt it only normal to relinquish this great honor to a very special NASCAR fan from the Kansas City Royals, the manager, Ned Yost.
Hi, I'm Ned Yost of the Kansas City Royals. Boy, I'd sure love to be out there with you guys today, but we're a little tied up right now. This is my honor and my privilege to say, drivers, start your engines.
Crank it up when you're ready. You got me on? In away. Yeah, 10-4, sound good. Somebody grab that gear switch for me. We'll get your bead fans after 10. Bead fans after 10.
The other side of that opening there.
10-4.
Ned Yost, longtime fan of the late Dale Earnhardt, and a real NASCAR fan, and we wish him well across town tonight with his baseball.
Yeah, we used to spend a lot of time with Ned and all of these games and stuff, and I'd like to see him have some success over there. That's a good start.
Yeah, he's done a great job there, but he was wrong about one thing. They're not tied up. They got a 2-0 lead. They're in a pretty good spot.
Going for the series win tonight here in Kansas City. Won't be much backing down today in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series 400-miler at Kansas Speedway. Our telecast presented by Dodge. The cars rolling from the pit lane out onto this mile-and-a-half track. 3 pace laps before the green flag and the beginning of the event. So there are 3 drivers in the field who consider this their home track. There's Emporia, Kansas's Clint Bowyer. There's Jamie McMurray from Joplin, Missouri. And there's Carl Edwards from Columbia, Missouri. It is about a 2-hour drive from Carl's hometown to the racetrack here at Kansas Speedway. Says he used to drive by it when he was short track racing, watching him build the place, and never dreamed he'd race here. Well, not only is he racing here today, but he's in the championship, contending for a Sprint Cup title, and he's our ESPN in-race reporter, lined up in the 12th position.
Hey, Carl, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have a copy?
Got you, Dale.
All right, Carl, thanks for talking with us today. Let's go right to our mailbag question, and it comes from Carter in Las Vegas, Nevada. It says, your average finish at Kansas has been superb, but you've yet to post a win here. What would it mean to you to get that win today at your home track?
Oh, man, I mean, this is it for me. There's no bigger race. I mean, driving around driver introductions the whole weekend, there's people here that, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here. You know, guys like Roger Mosher and Howard Hall and the Kimberlings and folks that, I mean, they're heroes of mine. So it'd mean the world.
Hey, Carl, we've got a beautiful day to race here, but I'm going to bring up something that I know drivers don't like to think much about, but it's out there. Since the repave of this place, we've seen just a rash of caution flags in each one of these races. From your perspective as a driver, why is that happening now?
Oh, man, we're just going so fast. I mean, you drive down to these corners at way over 200 miles per hour. The aero portion of this racing is so intense that if you're close, if you get loose because the air is dirty or you get beside somebody, I mean, you just lose it in an instant. Goodyear's put in a box where they have to make such a hard tire to withstand those loads that there's just no room for error.
Thanks, Carl. That's a great explanation to our fans. We'll look forward to talking with you later on. You have a great, safe day out there.
Cool. It's going to be fun.
Carl Edwards starting in 12th position today. You can see the view from Carl's car and all the others by checking out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy for enhanced race action today, live from here at Kansas Speedway. Speaking of those high-definition onboard cameras, Brad Keselowski is carrying our Ford EcoBoost on board today. And Kevin Harvick has the Sprint onboard camera. There's Casey Kane with the Chevy on board. And Kansas Clint Bowyer, new daddy, with the 5-hour Energy on board. Kyle Busch has the Toyota on board. Jeff Gordon has the Sprint onboard camera. And Jimmie Johnson has the Goodyear on board.
All right, fellas. Beautiful day for a race today. Once again, got a little bit of a task ahead of us today, but the good thing about it is we're going to have some fun passing a bunch of race cars. That's what we're here to do.
The task is getting from 32nd starting spot to the front. Carl Edwards, our final onboard camera today, the Sunoco on board. Our mailbag question came from Las Vegas, the hometown of the first pit report of the day. Jamie Little has it for us.
That's right, Alan. You know, you mentioned the 48. It has been a struggle for Jimmie Johnson and this team this weekend. On Friday in qualifying, he spun, and as a result, he will start 32nd, and that ties the worst starting position of the year. And I talked to crew chief Chad Knaus this morning. He told me they're simply lacking speed, and their goal today, to stay on the lead lap. Jimmie Johnson has 11 straight top 10 finishes here. It'd be a big rebound to finish in the top 10 today. Doc Punch?
You know, Matt Kenseth has won 2 of the last 4 NASCAR Sprint Cup races here. He has the best average finish of anyone since this track was reconfigured way back in 2012. Now, this place has a very narrow groove which rewards precision and patience, both of which are strong points for Kenseth. This team knows that Matt starts way back in 27th spot, but they fully believe that when the checkered flag waves, he'll be in the top 5, if not better. Here's Vince Welch.
Through the first 3 races of the chase, there have been a variety of frustrations for Kevin Harvick and his 4 team. But his crew chief Rodney Childers gathered the group today and encouraged each member to focus only on their job, their race team, their car, and their responsibility. And if they do that, they believe that their day will include a trip to Victory Lane. Dave Burns?
Earlier this year, Jeff Gordon's team hovered near victory lane with 4 top 5s before they finally broke through here at Kansas. Now, I asked crew chief Alan Gustafson how it was going this weekend. He said if the car is slow and Jeff is happy, that's bad. Well, good news. The car is fast, and he told me Jeff was never happy in practice. Jeff Gordon starts 5th today.
Fast car, happy driver. I'll take the fast car on that balance.
Eventually, it'll make the driver happy.
I expect the two of you to have a different opinion on that, by the way.
Yeah, I like to have a fast one that drives well, but Jeff's getting a little bit like Mark Martin was. That when Mark complained about his car, he was definitely the man to beat. I think Jeff's adopted that.
I think we're in for a really interesting day. We had, in this race a year ago, just a whole pile of caution flags. And in the May race, rather, here, we had about half the number, but all of them still were for crashes. So it's going to be a day where the drivers behind the wheel, and I think the crew chiefs on top of the pit boxes are all going to be on pins and needles waiting to see what unfolds.
Yeah, this is going to take a team effort to win this race today. These drivers have their hands full. We still have the wind blowing here today. We have a hotter track surface. I think that we're going to see more of that and tight competition.
Joey Logano lined up in the 2nd row in the Team Penske 22 car.
Good looking today, boys. Keep doing what we've been doing. So working well. Keep kicking ass.
Has been working well. Top 5 finishes. The only driver to post top 5 finishes in all 3 of the chase races so far. Joey starting in 4th position today. So 1.5-mile track, 400-mile race. It's 267 laps, the scheduled distance. Kevin Harvick, the pole sitter, has chosen the outside lane. His 8th pole of the season, 197 miles an hour, the qualifying speed on this 1.5-mile track. And everybody talking about the further back in traffic you are, the trickier the handling gets, especially when the cars are bunched up tightly for restarts. Certainly that applies for the initial start of the race, too. Pace car's off. Let's see how it turns out. Race 1 of the contender round. Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr. side by side for 6th place.
And this racetrack over the weekend really hasn't widened out as much as these drivers were hoping it would through an ARCA race that was here and then the nationwide race yesterday.
Yeah, but I think one thing that reason for that is it's so cool the temperatures were. We've got the sun out. It's a lot warmer. I think we're going to see that groove spread out a little bit today, and it might make the track a little more forgiving.
Yeah, the drivers that I talked with were anticipating and hoping that was going to be the case, that they'd get another groove to race in here.
Got one way high in turn 2. We stay under green. Looked like it was J.J. Yaley in the 83. Got up and might have scuffed the wall. But again, no spin, no crash. We keep going. Quick mention, Kurt Busch had to go to the tail of the field, as did Alex Bowman. Both had to take out backup cars after incidents in practice yesterday. Here's Jimmie Johnson. I know we have that piece we call the danger zone sometimes in the races. Well, certainly starting back in 32nd place, that is being in the danger zone at the beginning of this one.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Not where you want to start your day, but if somebody is calculating and as patient as Jimmie Johnson, if you give him a car that's pretty decent, he'll find a way before 400 miles are up to get himself up inside the top 10, if not the top 5.
Denny Hamlin right back there with him. Just ahead of him is Hamlin racing side by side with Michael McDowell.
As much as anything from a driver's perspective, when you have a bad qualifying effort, and nothing against those other guys, but these aren't people that you normally are racing around. So you're not as familiar with their habits, things they may do, how they may approach the racetrack. See Jimmy going below the white line there. Now in a couple of weeks, we know at Talladega, that's forbidden. You can't do that. Here, no problems.
Brad Keselowski, Jeff Gordon. Brad in 5th position in the 2 car. Jeff trying to take that spot from him in the 24.
Just in front of the 2 car there, Eric Almirola had a great qualifying effort. They've been really good in the chase. They had the engine issue at Chicago that pretty much kept them from moving on. They've been really solid. This program's really coming around, especially at these mile-and-a-half racetracks.
One difference this week. See the yellow window banner and the yellow splitter gone on that 43 car.
Yeah.
No longer in the hunt for the championship.
Yeah, and it is a shame because, like you said, I think they really stepped their program up, especially when the chase started. And they had the performance, just not the luck they needed.
And Eric's been very vocal this weekend about how this is one of his better tracks, and they were looking to keep racing because they can finish as high as 5th in the championship. Everybody that gets bumped out of the championship contending group can still finish as high as 5th in points. And if you're Richard Petty Motorsports, if you were to go back and tell them at the start of this season, hey, you can finish 5th in points, they'd probably said, okay, that's great.
That's right.
Then we've made progress this year, and we're moving forward.
Here's the first driver I've seen kind of move up to that 2nd lane. That's Dale Jr. in the 88. He'd fallen about 6 or 8 car lengths behind Jeff Gordon, but since he's moved up, he's found a lot of speed on the exit of the corner.
Heard Dale Jr.'s interview with us during NASCAR Countdown. The confidence he had, felt like they had some real speed in this car this weekend. And what better way to pursue through this very difficult 3-race round of the championship than to win the first one and not have to worry about the next 2. Junior up to 6th. Kevin Harvick out in front. Something we've seen a lot these days. Just underway here at Kansas Speedway with today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race. More racing for you tonight at 8 Eastern on ESPN2. The final eliminations of the NHRA Nationals from Reading. Then next weekend, the action moved to Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Nationwide Series, Friday night, 7 Eastern ESPN2. And the Bank of America 500. The 5th race in the chase is next Saturday night. Note that's on ABC at 7 Eastern time. Plus, we got a full night's coverage of qualifying for you Thursday from Charlotte and practice on Friday before the nationwide race. Got a lot of racing television for you next weekend from Charlotte. 16 laps in. Brad Keselowski looks like he's found a little something in the handling of this 2 car because he's moved up and is trying to find a way to get third place away from Brian Vickers.
Yeah, I think what he found, Brian Vickers took away from him. It was that little higher line.
Doesn't take long for word to get out when people start moving forward, just like Brad found the outside when he saw Dale Jr. coming towards his bumper. And he was able to go around the 43 car that way. Vickers saw the 2 and the 88 making time up there. I'm sure his spotter helped him a little bit there. He's been able to hold them off for about the last 6 laps now.
Dale Jr. trying to see which lane Kozlowski's going to open up under or around Vickers and see if he can follow through. Talked about how temperatures are much different today than they were yesterday for the final practice sessions and even Friday for qualifying here. Check out some of the track temperatures and look at the difference in the track temperature even from final practice yesterday to today.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference from inside the race car. You know, there's one side that these drivers will tell you, we're glad that it's warming up, the racetrack can widen out, and our tires can get up to temperature a little bit quicker. But on the other side of that, I believe before this day's out, as they get more rubber down in these places, they're going to find out it's going to be a little slicker.
Little lap traffic for these guys racing for position to encounter, and look who's moving forward. You might say he's flying.
Talking about the Cessna car there,
yes.
Number 1. I'll tell you what, just watch that right there. Kozlowski gave up a spot to Junior, and looks like he might give this one up too. Figure out what happened to him, if he got a little bit loose or what slowed his progress. Going again now.
So McMurray getting up there in that gray area.
He's another one that's been using that higher line, moved up around Almirola in the 43, McMurray did, has picked up 4 positions since the start of the race. And another one of those home drivers, Jamie from Joplin, Missouri, looking to have a big day on his home track. Jamie.
And he is moving forward. I talked to his crew chief, Keith Rodden, this morning, and he said last week, Jamie said we had a great car and we ended up being horrible. Well, this weekend he said we were horrible, so I'm hoping the opposite happens. And so far, Ellen, after 21 laps, the car has been good. Started 14th all the way up, battling for 5th.
Yeah, that race last week was kind of confusing, too. We watched Jamie McMurray practice with Dover. Very, very solid. Looked like he was going to have a really good weekend, and this never really materialized for him.
No, I talked to him on Sunday morning. He was very excited about the prospects of his chances of winning at Dover, and that didn't materialize. But I tell you, he's taking the second groove to another level here as he's moving forward. Really carrying a lot of speed there. And watch the run that he gets off the corner.
This is actually what I thought we may see with these warmer temperatures, is that track start to widen out a little bit.
So Harvick and Logano pretty well clear of everybody else. Now Dale Jr. is 3rd. This is the race for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Vickers 55, McMurray 1, and Kozlowski 2.
I'll tell you, that was a really risky kind of pass because we haven't seen cars running that high all weekend.
No, we haven't seen that, and you could see Vickers move up and try to take as much of it away and kind of force the one where he didn't think he wanted to be, but Jamie took that little bit of room and made the pass.
If you've been watching any kind of sports television or even television this weekend, you've seen Jamie all over the commercials for his sponsor. Out there with LeBron James and Alex Morgan and Patrick Kane of the Blackhawks and so on. Really neat to see Jamie on a stage with people and on an equal level with people of that caliber. 7 laps from 9th to 5th for Jamie McMurray, while Kevin Harvick has led all of the 24 laps so far. There's your top 5. Couple laps shy of the 50-mile mark here at Kansas Speedway in today's 400-mile NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race. Our telecast presented by Dodge. Kevin Harvick, the race leader, led all the laps so far. He and Joey Logano have moved away from the rest of the pack by about a second, though the pack beginning to chase them down just a little bit. There goes Logano. There's Dale Jr., Jamie McMurray, and Brad Kozlowski and the rest of the top 10 coming at you. So there's the gap. Harvick to Logano. Joey continuing to run second and try and figure out where he might gain some ground.
Have anyone moved up? There's a few of them. The 1 is running in the middle of 3 and 4 as well as 1 and 2. Yep.
Tab Boyd, the spotter, up on the roof, helping Logano navigate things today. Although that observation was given to the 22 driver, he still continues to hug that bottom line around the racetrack at Buffalo.
He has tried it a few times, and I think it takes a little bit of a change in driver. You have to get a little bit of a rhythm there. But maybe his car doesn't feel as good to him, right? And going over to that, they'll have to make an adjustment to it for that to feel better.
Now, Junior and Jamie McMurray beginning to reel in the top two.
Yeah, McMurray's been consistently one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, even faster than Harvick. And you can see that outside lane pretty strong there. Kurt Busch is in.
Yep, remember this is the backup car. They started at the tail end of the field after a practice crash on Saturday. Doc?
Yeah, they had no practice whatsoever. They had to get this car out, as you said, AB, so they're really having to play catch-up right now, make major adjustments on the car. They knew this track would be free early on and tighten up later, but no need tearing up another race car. Come in early, make the adjustments, and be away.
So that the problems for Kurt. Here's the race for second place.
Well, this has to be encouraging to Dale Jr. fans, and I was one that was concerned about this race team having the speed and over the last probably couple of months to compete here in this level.
Yeah, I was down in the garage this morning and talking to some of the crew chiefs about who they thought was the best cars in practice, what they'd seen. They said this 88 number came up quite a few times.
So Dale Jr. up to second place after starting in 8th position. Speeding penalty for Kurt Busch on the pit stop. He'll be coming back for a pass-through penalty. Here's Jeff Gordon passing Brian Vickers for 6th place.
I cannot run the top, cannot run the top. Therefore.
And I'm just going to guess that probably right now that car's a little bit on the loose side for Jeff, and you can't get up there where you're trying to go up there to carry some more speed. Just not able to do that and make any time or feel comfortable.
So Jeff having trouble running the high line and yet still picking up one spot there as he just got around Brian Vickers, who's faded back from second starting spot. Long green flag run to start this race, just like we saw in the race here in May. So we'll be seeing the beginning of a green flag pit stop window coming up very soon. Gordon's going to get another one. Nope, not quite. Racing Brad Keselowski there for 5th position. Just over 50 miles in to the 400-miler today at Kansas. Back live at Kansas, you're seeing the first lead change of the race. Car number 1 going to the number 1 spot on the pylon. Jamie McMurray has driven from 14th starting spot to 1st.
I'll tell you what's so impressive about that pass in particular is he had been making all the ground at the top side of the racetrack, way up there, but he passed Harvick on the bottom.
Yeah, this is one of those cars that you like that'll go kind of to either place, but make tremendous speed on the top of the racetrack. He was really the first one to kind of start this trend going to the top. Saw Dale Jr. go to the middle, but Jamie's gone a lot further up than that. You see Jr. back there in 3rd has moved up also.
Beginning to see some green flag pit stops here. Dave?
27 of Paul Menard is on pit road. His car, he talked about being tight in the center, but to the center in turn number 1. So as he's entering the corner, it won't turn for him. They'll change 4 tires, get him full of Sunoco fuel, and give him a chassis adjustment.
McMurray headed back out. Casey Mears, Michael Annett, Cole Witt also on and now off the pit lane. Here is Ryan Newman, whose trip onto pit road was a little adventurous.
Yeah, this is really tight right here. Look like there might be a little problem, but everybody sorted it out. Doc?
First stop of the day for Newman. They thought they were going to have a really good race car today, even though they didn't qualify nearly as well as they would like. Left side tires going on. Got to get it full of fuel. Get it completely full of fuel. Sunoco gas going in. He was away. Dale Earnhardt Jr. very confident, as is Steve Letarte. He can come here and win this race. Chassis adjustment. Junior said, I'm snug in the middle, loose off early in the run. Left side tires on. Vince.
The 22 of Joey Logano been running top 5 throughout the course of the day today. Just a little bit too loose right now, particularly to move up to that top group. Chassis adjustment and an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires for Logano. Jamie?
It only took Jamie McMurray 43 laps to go from 14th to first. He said the car's a tick tight on the bottom, but really good up top. He wants him to free him up just a touch. Let's go to Vince.
Kevin Harvick started from the pole, has led most of the way, and the car a little snug to the center and then too loose from center off. Doesn't have the drive off that he likes, so they made a chassis adjustment, 4-tire change, Sunoco fuel for Kevin Harvick. Jamie?
Kyle Busch at the only track he doesn't have a top 5 at. He's saying he's just a little bit tight, aero tight and loose. He wanted an air pressure adjustment there. Let's go to Dave.
Jeff Gordon led a lap. That's important. His gas man, Travis Gordon, is lifting a 95-pound can of fuel. Sunoco fuel going in. They'll put 4 fresh tires on, give Jeff a wedge adjustment to try to help the balance of that race car.
And Jimmy Johnson, who started back in 32nd, working his way through traffic. 4-tire stop here. They will fill him up with Sunoco fuel and keep working on this car because it's not handling too great in traffic. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin, they were pretty happy with the car. Darian Grubb telling me this morning they made adjustments. They thought they could work their way to the front. Not a great qualifying effort, but a great pit stop for him. The 2 is on pit road.
This is Brad Keselowski coming in for his first stop of the race. Vince?
Brad Keselowski a little loose in traffic and said the front end doesn't feel as secure as he would like either. It's going to be a chassis adjustment to snug up Keselowski. 4-tire change. Remember, he's already won once in the chase. They say this isn't their best track, but they hope to work on it and have a good solid day. A little slow on the stop.
This is a race for second place behind Jamie McMurray, who will go back into the #1 spot after the exchange of pit stops. Harvick trying to pass Dale Jr. for that spot.
You see a couple of times I've seen the back of that 4-car step out. Did right there just a little bit. Still able to get by the 88.
Pass-through penalty for Mike Wallace for speeding on his green flag stop has been served, so everything is run through the cycle of pit stops, and McMurray has come away with a 2+ second lead on Kevin Harvick, who's now in second. This is Keselowski in the 2 and Matt Kenseth. Keselowski losing ground on the pit stop cycle and Kenseth gaining a good bit. Got pinched in there.
Yeah, got in a bad spot right there. You see all the momentum that he lost right then.
Outside, 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 outside. Outside, outside. Clear high.
Brad started the cycle of pit stops in 6th position. Now finds himself back in 12th.
Yeah, they were a little slow on their stop. And then that's what he lost there also cost him quite a bit.
Plus, he was one of the last ones to pit in the cycle.
That guy's in the way. Get him off the track, man. He's about 5 seconds off.
So Keselowski trying to make up some lost ground here after the pit stop cycle is finished. Jamie McMurray out in front. Kansas-based sponsor in Cessna and a Joplin, Missouri-based driver. The Hollywood Casino 400 for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. We come back live with a reminder to check NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy for enhanced race coverage today from here at the track. So Jamie McMurray is the race leader. 12 drivers pursuing the championship in the first race of the 3-race contender round in the chase. Right side of the screen, that's where they run at the moment. You see most of them faring pretty well. Though Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin struggling after a difficult qualifying runs. Matt Kenseth made up a good bit of ground in that first run of the race and the first round of pit stops. We've been talking about the Chip Ganassi Racing Team for a while and the uptick in performance that they've had between Kyle Larson and Jamie McMurray. Now here's McMurray out in front of the race. and pursuing what would be his first win in a year. He won Talladega last fall, just a couple of weeks away. But it would be no surprise, and we've been using that theme for a little bit now, if one of those two cars won a race very soon.
No surprise whatsoever. They put themselves in position, and you continue to do that, make your cars fast, then you're going to find yourself in victory lane before very long, Jamie. Could be today.
It could be today, but there also could be a problem looming for our race leader right now. Jamie McMurray, right after that pit stop, said, I have a weird sound in here like a tire is falling apart. Now, just a lap ago, he said, it's like a crush panel is loose. Something is vibrating in here. And remember, the race here in the spring, McMurray blew a right front tire, so they're extra sensitive, keeping an eye and an ear on the sounds in the car.
Yeah, I talked to some people today about this. It seems like this tire especially has like a vibration or a noise. We heard some of it yesterday. People complained about it. This is the same tire they run at Michigan, and we heard some of those same complaints and comments from drivers at that race. I'm not sure what it is. It does give these drivers a little funny feeling. They hear something different, feel something a little different. But I'm not sure that it is a real problem. I'm not, it's just one of those things I think that it concerns you because it's different.
When you're going 190 miles an hour into the corner, I would say it would give you concern, especially when your last trip here you had a problem.
Yeah, but I think it's somehow related to this tire construction and the way that the speeds, obviously, that they're running.
Clint Bowyer about to be overtaken by the race leader. Been a big week off the track for Clint Bowyer. He and his wife, Laura, having their first child. Baby son, Cash, born on Wednesday. Bowyer saying he was walking around the delivery room high-fiving people and so on, and not somehow surprising from Clint.
And talking to everybody.
Joey Logano trying to pass Dale Earnhardt Jr. for third place in and around some lap cars.
The lap cars are making this very interesting because you've got some that are running on the bottom, a lot of them running right in the middle of the racetrack. See how that affects this racing throughout the day.
I'm already surprised to see just how wide the racetrack is and how much room there is to race. We expected it to be a little bit narrow and fast, and we were expecting that to be causing problems, but I kind of like what we've seen, how the racetrack's developed.
Logano ran second for almost the entire first run of the race, fell back before the pit stops and lost a little ground on the pit stop. Now trying to make it up, Vince.
Well, they were too loose toward the end of that first run, and Todd Gordon, the crew chief, tightened him up with a track bar adjustment, and Joey says the car has responded quite nicely. Feels like they're much better and moving forward, so good news for those fans of the 22.
So Logano running in third position for now. Trying to chase down Kevin Harvick for second here. Harvick in the 4 as they work some more lap traffic. Down to 23 cars on the lead lap in this long, now over 100-mile stretch of green flag racing at the beginning after what we saw yesterday in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race and what we saw the last few races here at Kansas. A little bit of a surprise that we've had this long of a green flag stretch to start this one.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with this racetrack really widening out as much as it did, as early as it did. I expect it to happen, but I thought that it would take somewhere over 100 laps for that to really come in, though.
There you go. Averaged 11 cautions in the last 4 races since the repaving and reconfiguration here in Kansas. We're a quarter way through this one. Haven't seen the yellow flag yet.
When that first one comes, you'll see plenty more.
I was going to say, that's not to say we won't catch up to that average later on. Yellow flag number 1 out here at Kansas Speedway. Debris in turn 4. You saw the cleanup truck out there in the background as the cars come to the pit road for service. Expect we'll see a lot of strategy played here.
Expect a lot of 2-tire stops.
Jamie?
Well, Jamie McMurray saying he had that vibration, but when he ran down low, it helped it. So they're going to try to tape up and reinforce that crush panel that was loose, and they were calling for right sides only. We'll see if they stick with the plan. Doc?
Dale Jr. said the car was a little bit edgy after the wedge went in, and said it was a little edgy in the corner, a little free on entry. 2 tires either way. Vince?
Joey Logano a little too free on exit, especially in traffic. It's going to be a 2-tire. No, they're going to switch now. 4-tire change, slight air pressure adjustment. The 4 of Kevin Harvick took just 2, right sides only.
That 4-tire call is going to cost Logano a bit of ground.
Yeah, quite a bit.
There's the race off pit road. Yellow flag number 1 out here in Kansas. Tomorrow, Russell Wilson and the Seahawks visit Kirk Cousins and the Redskins for Monday Night Football. Seattle and Washington at 8:15 Eastern on ESPN and on Watch ESPN also. No other night is Monday night. Seahawks coming off their bye week, and the Redskins will have all they can handle.
They will, but it's kind of, you got to be careful traveling from the West Coast, playing at night on the road. It's tough.
So doubling up for the restart with Jamie McMurray, the race leader. Joey Logano losing 7 spots with the 4-tire call by crew chief Todd Gordon.
Everyone in front of us do 2? Is that basically what happened here?
Yes, first car off on 4. Had you right there at 24 laps. We could have done it, but there was a pretty big gap behind you. I didn't figure we were going to lose too many spots doing it. Playing it safe here.
Let's get the explanation from Todd Gordon. Why 4 instead of 2 like most others?
Came on pit road. There was a gap to a couple cars behind us. Figured at this point of the race, play a little conservative and aggressive in the same way. Give him 4 tires, let him fire up through. It might change the strategy going forward. P10 right now, starting outside. I'm not too scared about.
Thanks, Todd. Alan?
All right, Vince, you'll see Joey Logano there where he lines up now. Free pass to Clint Boyer. Justin Allgaier, Landon Castle took waiver rounds to get back on the lead lap. 25 cars on the same circuit with the leader. Car sliding sideways, down through traffic. Man. Is that Greg Biffle? Yeah. And for the lead, Dale Jr. underneath Harvick and McMurray.
Yeah, a lot going on right there. 3 wide for the lead. Dale Jr. comes out in front.
And they're 4 wide behind him off turn 4, back in the pack. Still trying to settle out from that jam up off turn 2.
I don't know how Biffle saved that car, and that was going to be huge. He's up on the top side there.
Wow.
Completely side. Look at this.
Oh, Lord. How did he save that car? Look at that. Some great driving around him, too.
Oh, unbelievable. Biffle went from 6th there on the restart all the way back to 18th, but he does have a car that he continued to work with. We just mentioning during the commercial there to each other that how well he'd run here today.
Yep. So Dale Jr. takes advantage and is out in front now as the leader. Harvick 2nd, McMurray 3rd, Gordon 4th, and Martin Truex Jr. racing for 5th with Casey Kane. Another solid drive for the 78 team.
Yeah, something that team's really found for Martin Truex. Make this car drive a lot better. The last few weeks have been a lot better. Solid effort.
Trouble car in the wall, turn 4. Kurt Busch.
Here he comes down pit road. It hit it a ton, blew right front.
Now, very difficult couple of weeks for Kurt Busch. Few weeks, actually. And the 41 backup car that he started this race in goes to the garage damaged in an accident. Let's go back and show you while we were watching Biffle and the big shuffle off of turn number 2. Also show you how Dale Jr. went from 3rd to 1st for the race lead.
See a wiggle by Harvick in the 4 car, and that kind of slowed up the top 2. A lot of momentum from that 88.
He was pretty serious about taking the lead right here. Just 88 out front. That's a nice pass. Really good opportunity there. See right there. Wow. That's what a hard hit.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's just the worst thing for a driver. You see, there's nothing you can do.
Kurt will be more than happy to see Kansas in his rearview mirror after the weekend he's had. Wow.
Not been fun for him here.
So yellow flag again after we ran the first 100+ miles caution-free. We've quickly seen a second one here after that hard crash in turn 4 for Kurt Busch. Tony Stewart gets the free pass at this caution.
Yeah, that came really quick after a restart, so I would assume that maybe he had some contact with another car, maybe in that jam up that we saw with the 16 of Biffle.
We talk about all the safety innovations that have been around this sport. over the last 10, 12 years. And those safer barriers, there's nothing that's been any more important to these drivers. That type of lick right there, the concrete wall that we used to have, would be devastating.
Eric Almirola will be the first lead lap car back in 18th place to make a pit stop here.
The busy weekend of racing continues tonight. The finals in the NHRA Nationals from Reading, Pennsylvania, 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. And then next weekend, we head to the home of NASCAR for some people. It's the NASCAR Nationwide Series at Charlotte, Friday night, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. And then on Saturday, the only chase race under the lights, the Bank of America 500 at Charlotte. Join us on ABC, 7 o'clock Eastern. That is Saturday night. Back here at Kansas for chase race number 4. We were caution-free for the first 70 laps. Now it's really getting interesting. Hello to you from inside the Quicken Loans ESPN pit studio. I'm Nicole with Rusty and Brad. You say wind might be to blame for some of what we're seeing on the track.
Nicole, I really do think so. I've been out there, look behind the back of the pit studio here. The winds here in Kansas are really very strong, 30, 40 miles an hour, heading down into turn 1 and turn 2. And actually, the winds are stronger down low. And I tell you, I really think it's causing these guys a fit out there on the racetrack. You see them get loose. Look at Greg Biffle right here. Really got that thing sideways. We talked about how hard the tires are. Track's hard to get a hold of. Let me tell you what, when you start blowing that much wind at a car, it causes it really hard to handle.
Now, a few laps ago, there was a roar from the crowd. That's because a certain driver took the lead. That would be Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah.
Looking strong.
He is looking strong. And once again, I think we're back to racetracks, high speed, high grip that he excels at. We heard Dale Jarrett tell us this week on a conference call, a lot of drivers are going to get back into this thing because of that. He's one of them. This is the most laps that Junior has led since Pocono.
From 8th to 1st in 82 laps, Alan.
Brad, did you really say during countdown harder to pass than a kidney stone?
He did, Al. I heard it.
That's Ryan Newman.
Just check. No, I just checking.
That's the kind of wisdom we bring down here.
A lot of fun. Little wiggle off turn 4 for Jeff Gordon, and they're scattering around he and McMurray.
Gordon caught a little piece of the wall.
Oh, trouble. Jimmy Johnson, I believe.
Around, headed for the inside wall.
16.
Greg Biffle around also. And trouble further down the backstretch. 2 other cars involved in a collision.
It looks like, Jimmy.
Justin Allgaier and Josh Wise at the entrance to turn 3.
Dropping oil, guys. A lot of it. Should I shut it off?
Yeah, if you're losing a lot of oil, just shut it off.
Jimmy Johnson, after qualifying way back in 32nd place, had made up some ground in that second run of the race. And on the restart, I saw him out there 3 wide off turn number 2 the first time around, really making what looked like some speed, but then it got all bottled up on him this second time around off that corner, and there's the result.
Yeah, I think he got a little help on that one.
Yeah, probably so. As these things happen to 24 and 1, having that issue off turn 4 really put these cars right together.
Justin Allgaier and Josh Wise crashing down the other end of the backstretch as a result of the stack up that happened off of turn 2.
See Jimmy in the outside lane. I think, he got tagged by Biffle. And if Biffle was chasing his car up the racetrack, he definitely hit the left rear corner in the 48.
Yeah, and that sent Jimmy into the 51 of Justin Allgaier.
still in the middle, sucking.
And that right there was
Come on, hurry.
misjudged by Greg Biffle. He thought that he was just going to be able to slide in behind the 48. We've seen this a few times this year, if you can remember.
One all the way on the bottom, inside 2.
And just the Allgaier, Josh Wise thing, they're crashing off of turn number 2, and it was turn 3 before his car came to rest, and they still weren't done. And for Jimmie Johnson, literally a big blow in his championship hopes today here in Kansas. Caution flag out. Shy of the 1/3 mark of the race. The 6-time champion gets the worst of it. Back live at the Kansas Speedway, working caution for the 3rd time in today's 400-miler. Our NASCAR Sprint Cup Series telecast presented today by Dodge. It's one of those things that just after another restart, with the field still bottled tightly up, someone had a problem off of turn number 4 that turned into big trouble off turn 2.
Yeah, here's Jamie McMurray. Just gets into Jeff Gordon. Gordon into the wall just a little bit. But as they try to regain their momentum, you can see others taking evasive action, but it bottles everybody up behind them.
Yeah, this carried on through 1 and 2, and then the stack-up really kind of continued.
The right side of your screen, then you get Carl Edwards and Jimmie Johnson and so on right behind those other guys, and this results.
And I don't think that it didn't really look like, we watched it a few times, it doesn't look like Jimmie Johnson had to get out of the throttle any. Looked like it was just a misjudgment by Biffle on the speed that the 48 was carrying, and that he could slide right there, just caught the left rear of Jimmie Johnson.
And then Justin Allgaier sent for a wild ride, and Josh Wise collected in the slowdown. Downstairs to Dave.
With Jimmie Johnson, who walked out. Big hit to you. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Obviously, a big hit in championship points. So we'll try to get the car back on the track, run some laps, get a few points if we can, and then just put some premium on next weekend and the weekend after.
Yeah, describe a little further what this does now going forward in the contender round, Jimmie.
Well, it just means we've got to be on our game at Charlotte and Talladega, and you know, there's still a lot of racing left. Other stuff can happen, so we'll kind of see how the other chasers fare. You know, if I can get taken out today, somebody else can later in this event or at Charlotte. So we'll do our best to get on track, and then certainly need W's, I would assume, moving forward.
All right, the car did go by here. It's a mess, but as Jimmie said, they'll try to get it back out there.
So Jimmie dropping half a race instantly behind the 8th place cut line that comes up 2 races from now.
Yeah, the good news for Jimmie is he's going to Charlotte next week, where he has 7 wins, and that's got to be encouraging. And Talladega, I mean, this might be the first driver actually looking forward to Talladega out of the 12-car chase field.
So loaded up for another restart. Dale Jr. leads from the outside lane.
Martin Truex Jr., and that's 78 right there in that outside. He wants 2nd place now. It's been a great racetrack for Martin Truex Jr. over the years. Done everything but win here.
Harvick not going to give it up so easily. Kyle Busch 18, Casey Kane 5. That's 5th and 6th place. Denny Hamlin beginning to creep into the picture toward the front. He and Brad Keselowski right behind. And there's Kyle Larson in the 42, steadily moving forward again.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin's done a nice job today. He started way back after a bad qualifying run. Got a fast car, though.
Fast pit crew has helped him, too.
Yeah, and a really fast car. After about 4 or 5 laps is this 42 car. He struggles a little bit on the beginning on low air pressures, but, man, when this thing comes alive, it's the fastest race car on the track.
So the running order behind the first couple really jumbled up by the Jeff Gordon, Jamie McMurray tangle and slide back into the field. Some people successfully maneuvering through it. Here is Joey Logano trying to successfully maneuver Martin Truex for 3rd and 4th places.
Remember, this 22 has 4 tires versus most of these other guys, especially the ones that he's racing there in front of him. They just took 2 a couple of cautions ago.
And Logano had that stuff with Jimmy Johnson and so on happening all around him off turn 2 when that all started to mix up. So Logano to 3rd, Truex back to 4th. A lot of action in this middle stage of the race. And as we get a little bit later on in the afternoon, remind you to stay tuned for our NASCAR nonstop coverage in the second half of today's race, presented today by Sunoco. Just joining us, just coming up on 150 miles of this 400-miler at Kansas Speedway. The first 70 laps, over 100 miles of this one, ran nonstop under the green flag. Kevin Harvick did most of the leading. Jamie McMurray charged up through the field to take the top spot. A round of pit stops and some strategy shuffled Joey Logano back into the pack a bit. Then a couple of quick cautions, and that big crash a minute ago has really turned some people's running order and relative track position inside out. Jeff Gordon, who'd been up in the top 5, is now way back in 21st place. Jamie McMurray is way back in 10th place. And here's Casey Kane inside the top 5 in 5th position and trying to get 4th away from Truex.
I tell you, Casey Kane and Kenny Francis were both excited about this weekend. They feel like that these next 2 weeks are some of Casey's best racetracks. They really thought they could win either here or in Charlotte next week and move themselves on to the next round.
Yeah, and take them off that hot seat they were on last week at Dover. It was a tough race for them, but they were able to transfer.
Casey said, if we get through the first round, he said, 2 of my best tracks are Kansas and Charlotte. They got through the first round. Of course, had the loose wheel and got behind, and the pit stop cycle and so on barely worked out in their favor and eked their way through the cut line.
Yeah, I talked to Kenny Francis a little bit about that, and he said, you know, once we got that far down, it kind of relieved any pressure. He said, I told Casey, hey, just go do what you can do. You know, all we can do is just get the best finish we can and see where that puts us.
Yeah, go pass them all. Hey, that's kind of what he did. He just went out there and started passing cars.
Speaking of passing cars, Kyle Larson coming in a hurry.
Larson around Truex up to 5th position. Larson started this race back in 18th place. Headlines of the moment. 6-time champ Jimmy Johnson, his car being rebuilt after a crash a little while ago that sent him to the garage. And the race leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., in command at Kansas at the moment. Downtown Kansas City, just across the river from where we sit at the Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. Today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race telecast presented by Dodge, and our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learned making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Can't ask for a nicer day for a race or a baseball game.
We got them both here.
Royals hosting the Angels over at Kauffman Stadium later on tonight. Right now, the other side of town, the first race in the contender round of the chase is ongoing with Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front of Kevin Harvick by 1.2 seconds. 6th place here, Jamie McMurray rallying after the dust-up with Jeff Gordon off turn 4 earlier. It kicked him back in traffic, now trying to pick his way back toward the front.
Boy, he is using that high side, and he is flying by these guys. It looks like fun, Dale.
Oh, it's a blast as a driver. You know, it's always fun to get down around the white line and make a car work there. But there's nothing better than getting up there right next to the wall. You can get in the gas so early and go so hard, and you can literally feel the speed from there a little bit better.
Kicking up a cloud of dust, he went into turn one so high.
Well, they took his other lane. You know, he had moved up, and he was about a car width off the wall, but others got running there, so rubber being put down there is not quite as favorable. So he's moved up a little further than what everybody else is, trying to get a little bit more grip and speed, and it's working for him.
McMurray had gone back to 13th after the skirmish with Jeff Gordon, and he's picked his way again back up to 6th position. So looking at the race so far here in Kansas, that long green run over 100 miles to start the day, then the 3 quick cautions since, and the headline on this one, Jimmie Johnson in the hard crash with his car back in the garage area being rebuilt. Lap leaders today, Kevin Harvick's led the most. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jamie McMurray not far behind him in the total tally. Brad Keselowski and Jeff Gordon have also been out in front. Those are the 5 drivers that have traded the lead 12 times in this one. 25 cars still on the lead lap. And there's the race for second. Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano.
Yeah, we might be getting to the point here, these 4 tires that Logano has on his car versus the other guys might be really paying off for him as they run towards the green flag pit stop or the next pit stop. Probably an advantage for him.
Alex Bowman in the line Logano wanted to use, but he was still able to make it work and get around Harvick for second place. Aric Almirola's off the pace.
Go ahead and try and fire it back up.
Yeah.
Seems like the motor blew up. Something. All my pressures were good. I still had oil pressure. I still had fuel pressure.
And they had such high hopes today.
All right, still 4 tires on here, guys.
See, they started in 3rd position.
Yeah, you can do all the things, make your cars better, but you got to have a little racing luck to go on top of that.
Made it back around to pit road. We stay under the green flag.
Logano's taking over that 2nd spot from Kevin Harvick now. Set his sights on Dale Jr. in the 88, who is really, really impressive today to watch this 88 team come out here. Haven't performed at the level that they started the season off, but they're doing a great job. But this driver and team right here have performed every weekend now.
Yeah, they kind of woke up at the right time, too. We start this round. If they could happen to get a win, take a lot of pressure off this team to go to the next round.
Joey Logano, top 5s in each of the first 3 races in the chase. About the only car I could tell you I thought performed better in those 3 races would have been Kevin Harvick, who did so much leading and so on, but Logano got better results than Harvick did out of most of them.
He's got a little damage, and I think that came from that restart where Greg Biffle got really sideways. Logano lifted off the throttle, and I saw him get sideways, but I believe he got tapped in the left rear just a little bit. How's the car, though? Looks pretty good, Vince.
Yeah, they're really happy with it. And, you know, it's interesting. You guys were talking about Jamie McMurray and how high McMurray was running. Logano and his spotter, Tab Boyd, during that last yellow were talking about it. And Tab was telling Joey where McMurray was running and how he was making time and suggesting that Joey get up there and give it a shot. Since he has moved up to that line, as suggested, he's found a little extra speed and picked up a couple of spots, too. Jamie?
And meanwhile, back in the garage, Jimmie Johnson continues to look on as about 20 different team members go to work on the front clip and rear clip of this car. Jimmie even picked up a hammer himself. They have crew guys underneath the car, extensive damage. But like Jimmie said, he wants to get back out and salvage at least a couple points. Remember, this is the first race in the contender round.
These teams all have disaster plans. They all have equipment here, parts and pieces, pre-measured, preset. They're all ready to rebuild any part of the car that they can. And it's kind of like organized chaos. There are specific crew members assigned to front end and back end and so on. But then you get in there and the crew chief or the leader has to direct them through the effort of what needs to be repaired, and they have to make sure they get it right, because the car's got to be, number one, safe when they go back out onto the racetrack, but number two, it's got to meet a minimum speed, and you got to get it right away.
Yeah, it's definitely a team effort. I've always, in these situations, that's the main thing. My focus is, when we go back on the track, I want this car to be solid. I don't want to bring out another caution. It looks bad on you if you kind of halfway fix the car and take it back out there and things fall off of it. And the other thing is you want to make it fast enough to keep up.
8th place changing hands. Kyle Busch around Martin Truex Jr.
Heard Kyle say a number of times this weekend, if they could come out of here with a top 10, they would consider that an excellent day here at Kansas, a place that just has not been kind to Kyle Busch in these Sprint Cup cars, but had been very solid, being very patient. And I said yesterday during the nationwide race, he was very patient. Took him a long time to get to the front of that, eventually did win that race. But I thought that if he used that same strategy, he could have a solid day here.
Yeah, how hard is it, though, to adjust your expectations from a guy like Kyle Busch, who's, you know, he expects to win. When he goes to these races, he doesn't expect to try to run the top 10, but he knows that that's what he needs here. How hard is that to adjust to?
You know, it is that, and it is difficult for a winning driver like this. But you have to put your sight and put things in perspective as to what's going to be the best for this race team to move forward. And these 3 race groups that we see now to where they have to move forward, he knows that if he can finish in the top 10 here, then that's going to give him his best shot going on to Charlotte and then to Talladega for that 3rd race.
Not sawed on the wheel too much.
I think there's probably more to this car right now, but let's save that for later. You know, there's plenty of time to make that happen and show what we really have. This may be a solid top 5 car before this day is over.
Not even halfway through today's race here in Kansas. So Kyle Busch running solidly in 8th position. He is 12 seconds behind leader Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Uh-oh, something happened to Junior right there.
He gets off the pace.
He hit it hard.
Right side all beaten up on the 88 car.
Look and see if that right front tire's down. It just took a right turn right off the corner.
Lose the tire, bud. I walked on you. Lose the tire, bud. No, we're taking to the garage. That hit hard. No reason to stop here.
Hard hit. Wow.
You can drive it. Take it to the garage. If not, we'll get a tow. Yeah, I can get it to the garage.
I think it kind of knocked the wind out of him there for a minute.
It'll do that.
You can't have much worse luck than to be leading the race.
No.
And have this happen.
Up see it go right there.
You could just see the cowl flap, the hood flap from the explosion of the tire. Popped up.
This was a lap before. Was there some contact here?
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, but the tire he lost was the right front, so that.
Oh, yeah. Looking on this, see if he had any contact with the other car now.
That's the one thing, though, about running high, that anything that comes off of these other cars or anything like that goes up to the top of that racetrack. And if you continue to push that up, there's that possibility of running over something.
Had 38 green flag laps.
You okay? Yeah, I'm happy about that. Hit the wall pretty good.
Yeah, that's a hard hit. I mean, you're wide open then. Well, we talked about, you know, running up to the wall. It kind of lessens that blow, but that's still hard impact.
So Joey Logano becomes the new leader of the race. And the story of the day certainly takes an unexpected twist.
What's that? But 4 tires for pretty much everybody here.
Dave?
The Casey Kane crew and the Kyle Larson crew agree with you, DJ. Kane's car right now a little bit loose. They'll make a wedge adjustment for that. As for Kyle Larson, just a little tight late exit. 4 tires, no changes. Vince?
For the 22 of Joey Logano, a little too free in traffic. Look for a 4-tire change and a track bar adjustment. Down bottom right of your screen, Kevin Harvick, just too loose to run the top. 4-tire change for Harvick. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, also a 3/4 round out of the right rear for the 4 of Kevin Harvick. So here comes the race off pit road. Not much of one. It's Joey Logano, the first one off.
Top three hold their positions. Matt Kenseth with a long stop, top right of your screen, as his crew works on the front of the 20 car, and somebody's lost a tire. That is at the turn 4 end of pit road and is being returned to the Paul Menard team. In the May race here, Hendrick Motorsports had 3 of the top 5 finishers. Today, 2 of their 4 cars are back in the garage after hard crashes.
And welcome back to Kansas Speedway. Back in the garage, busy times for Hendrick Motorsports. Dale Earnhardt Jr. led 45 laps. You were leading and straight into the wall. What happened?
Going into turn 3, the surface of the tire unwound all the way across the surface. And I don't know, just the whole surface of the tire unwound like a string and just came off the car, and it popped off the corner. I felt it coming apart through the corner, and the surface of the tire is gone. The whole cap came off. Must have been a recap. But I got to hand it to the guys, man. That was a great race car. We hadn't been running very good the last several weeks, and, man, we came in here with a great attitude and a great fast car. This is a car we won Pocono with both times. It's a good car. Hopefully we didn't hurt it too bad, and we'll just try to go to the next one. This is going to hurt us in the points, obviously, but we got a lot of racing left, a lot of races to win. We're running good.
All right, he's still optimistic. They were happy about the way they ran, and now they have 2 more races to try to get it done and move on. Alan?
All right, Jamie, here we go for a restart. Joey Logano and Kevin Harvick on the front row. Things all kind of dicey in the pack on these restarts. Kevin Harvick back in front. So it's Harvick, Logano, Larson, McMurray, Kane, the top 5. Then Keselowski, Truex Jr., Newman, Austin Dillon up into the top 10. And Denny Hamlin rounding out the top 10.
It's really been a solid day. You talked about Austin Dillon there in the 3-car up into the top 10. I've watched him progress throughout the day. Seems like they're getting that car just a little bit better each time for him.
A couple cars to clean up from pit stops. Kyle Busch speeding on pit road. Came in 8th, had to go back to 22nd for the restart, trying to make up lost ground. Matt Kenseth a couple of times on pit road with this 20 car and some damage. Doc can update us on why.
Yeah, back about lap 80 or so on the restart, he got into the back of the 22 of Logano, damaged the right front, had a crack above the headlight, which became a hole, and the car would not handle. It was up off the racetrack. They came in, made 2 pit stops to put some tape on the nose of the 20. Much, much better now than it was about 15 laps ago. Alan?
All right, Doc, so Kyle Busch 19th, Matt Kenseth 20th, and behind them in 21st is Jeff Gordon. That loose tire from pit road was rolled back toward the pit box of Paul Menard's team, but it belonged to Jeff Gordon's team, pitting 1 spot in front of them, and Jeff had to go all the way back to the end of the line for the restart. Watch the back end of this 24 car here.
These tires have to be on the inside half of the pit box. Looked like that crew member for the 27 could have helped out a little bit, but he didn't.
And then when the tire carrier for the 24 goes to retrieve it, they're pulling his air hose back in. Watch him trip over the air hose.
Oh my, yeah, he went straight down.
And the tire kept rolling.
That's just not our day, is it? It ain't over yet. Just keep fighting to the end. That's what's challenging us.
We got to meet the challenge here.
Eddie DeHaan, the spotter, talking to Jeff Gordon, and a very good perspective there. Long way to go. Joey Logano trying to get back around Kevin Harvick for the race lead.
Yeah, that last row, that 22 looked strong, but we thought maybe it was the 4 tires that he had taken on. They're all even now. He's still strong. Took the lead from Harvick.
Yeah, the good thing about putting 4 tires on this every time, you can make adjustments to that. You don't have to wonder, was it those 2 tires that made the car do this? They know exactly what's done. They've got it handled the way Joey Logano wants it right now for sure.
Yeah, I almost questioned that 4-tire call by Todd Gordon when he made it. Didn't give up as much spots as he probably could have. He was able to make them all back up now, up front.
So as the race crosses its halfway point, Joey Logano is back again in the race lead, Vince.
You know, and when you talk about those 2 tires versus the 4 tires early on in that 22, Todd Gordon told me this morning, he said, we like the 4 tires as much as possible because we think that makes us more on offense as compared to 2 tires and being on defense. He said, so early in the race, look for us to make a 4-tire change when a lot of others go 2. Now, they also made a chassis adjustment on the previous stop, and they've got Joey Logano fixed up. He just came on the radio and said, I like what I've got to work with right now.
Now, I spent some time with Todd Gordon in the garage this morning, and he said, I asked him what he thought about his car and the day, and what to expect. He says, my theory today is tight is right. As long as our car stays tight, we'll be good. It looks like it is.
Crew chief after my own heart right there. He might not like what he sees in his mirror, though. That 42's coming strong.
Kyle Larson, 3rd and closing. But at the halfway point here in Kansas City, it's Joey Logano out in front. Back live at Kansas, Joey Logano continues to lead today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race. Telecast presented by Dodge. There's your new 2nd place runner. Kyle Larson has just passed Kevin Harvick. Larson today, the biggest mover in this race. We check those numbers, brought to you by Sprint. Kyle started back in 18th place, and he's up to 2nd right now. Stay connected to the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup with the Sprint Family Share Pack. 20 gigabytes of high-speed data to share, plus unlimited talk and text for $100 a month. Learn more at sprint.com/datashare. More on Kyle Larson from Dave.
Alan, he was also a big mover after a lap 72 pit stop where he stalled the car leaving. The team had to push it out, and he lost 7 spots. But ever since then, he's been going forward. And Chris Heroy, the crew chief, told me this morning, we've heard from the ghost of Christmas past this morning. I know you heard Tight is Right earlier. Ghost of Christmas past here. They said we were so loose in the May race, we were going to make him tight no matter what. And so far, the car's been very, very good for Larson.
I'm waiting for somebody to make the Ebenezer Scrooge reference. Come on.
He might find Christmas in October here this afternoon with that first Cup victory.
Sure been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, very talented. Fun to watch, make his way through traffic and search around on the racetrack for fastest way around there for his car.
Boy, the team was real loose this morning. I was just walked by while they were going through tech. I said, is today the day, guys? And they were all grinning and said, yep, think it might be. So
that's good. Loose team and a tight car. That makes for a good combination.
That's better. 24-year-old Joey Logano leading. 22-year-old Kyle Larson second. Youth is served at this point of the race in Kansas today. Not being served well are circumstances around Denny Hamlin inside that 11 car, Jamie.
Well, the day was looking up for Denny Hamlin. He gained 13 positions, but this was on his radio just about 2 minutes ago.
Just put on fire underneath the dash. Turn all your other switches off there. Turn all your fan stuff off. Did it go out, man? Still smoking. Looks like the smoke's gone away.
And most recently saying, okay, there may not be a fire now, but there's still smoke and I can smell it. They're telling him check all of your gauges one at a time, and he's going to stay out there until everything goes kaput.
I'm just going to guess, not having driven one of these race cars before, that if you see sparks or something under the dash, it's not a very comfortable thing.
Rather unsettling as a driver, yes.
Yeah, not good.
Pick that out. You know, you really can't see up under there, so you have to think it's some electrical situation that they got, Andy.
Yeah, and they got, it's distracting, obviously, for the driver to have to go through all that, but you wonder, how is it going to fare the rest of the way?
Denny running in 12th position at the moment. Remember, started back in 25th. And still got that yellow banner across the windshield as one of the 12 trying to make it into the round of 8. This contender round in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Long way to go. 117 laps remaining here at Kansas City today. Joey Logano, the race leader, and we go NASCAR nonstop today, presented by Sunoco. The Hollywood Casino 400 for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at the Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. Back live looking at the race for the lead. And a reminder that you can go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Kyle Larson, 42, has run Joey Logano down in and around some lap traffic. Was a little bit closer than he is at this moment. But Larson appearing to be on a roll here in this middle stage of the race.
I watched this 42 car yesterday in practice. Was really impressed with what I was seeing. It had good speed in the car. It held on for a long time with good speed. He actually would at times get up over the 27 or 29 second bracket and then come back and run a faster lap than that 10, 12 laps into a run. So it's really paying off for him here. The pace has slowed down from yesterday's practice, but it's still kind of relevant as to what he's doing and able to continue that speed.
Saw Reed Sorensen in the 36 kind of slide up off turn 2 between those front two, but everybody had enough room to make it work. Jimmy Johnson, you saw come back out of the garage. He was 68 laps down to the race leader in 40th place. Just spent another couple of laps on pit road and now has to come back for a pass-through penalty on the pit lane now. So then a little bit slow reestablishing things for the 48 car to get back in the race. I thought I heard him call for a pass-through penalty a second ago.
Yeah, he just pulled back out on the racetrack. I don't know if he was maybe going a little fast when he returned to the pit road or not, but not much consequence to that penalty.
So what's this like? Your car's been wrecked. You have to get back in it. They've spent a while rebuilding it. Now you're back out on the racetrack.
Horrible. Up, Brad Keselowski into the wash.
We blew a right fronters up, guys.
Another one.
Blew right front. Coming to you right now. Right here, right now. Toe is not good, but not awful.
He was running in 5th place.
Oh, yeah, almost exactly like the 88 car, just a different spot on the track.
Outside. Come on. Hold on. Nope. Look. Caution.
That looks like a mess, Vince.
Certainly is. You know, the interesting thing, guys, right before that right front win, he had radioed into his crew chief, Paul Wolf, and said, my exit is perfect. He said, I feel like my entry's gotten a little worse, but the exit is perfect. So I don't think they got any indication at all that they had a problem before that right front win. Obviously, some pretty significant damage on the right side of the car.
Need a second jack to try and get the car up onto the jack to change the right side tires. Here come the leaders, Dave.
Kyle Larson and Kasey Kahne on pit road. Larson's crew has talked about a 4-tire change and just a little bit of a change for a low grip situation. He's both tight and loose. You see Kahne only took 2 tires. Vince?
Well, the 22 of Joey Logano says it just takes off a little bit too tight, and then it's too free in and off. So they're going to make a chassis adjustment and a 4-tire change for Logano. Also a 4-tire change for the 4-car of Kevin Harvick. Track bar is going to go up, and Sunoco fuel in there as well. A little bit too free in the high groove for Harvick's liking.
Interesting call there by Kenny Francis. Right sides only for Kasey Kahne. And the yellow flag waving for the 5th time today here in Kansas.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Kansas, presented by Dodge, is brought to you by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
Well, we were expecting a little bit of drama today at Kansas with 104 to go. This is, after all, race 1 of round 2 of the chase. And if you are just joining us, the 5-Hour Energy Rapid Recap is going to get caught up on what has happened so far. chase contender trouble starting.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson coming off turn 2, and Greg Biffle gets in the backup and spins him out. They both wrecked. Big damage on Johnson's car. He's back on the track right now, but he's several laps down. He's 73 laps off the pace. Bad day for Jimmy
Shown in
Johnson.
40th. Another bad day for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Maybe a sign of things to come for a few drivers here.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt Jr. led 45 laps, had a strong race car, but we've heard drivers talking pre-race, throughout the race, about the tires. They're concerned with right fronts. Jr. hits the wall leading.
And guess what? Right front tire issues for Brad Keselowski as well. He hit the lap on 160. Wasn't leading, but he was in fifth.
Yeah, he didn't see this coming either. He just reported in that his car's really doing great, handling wonderful, and all of a sudden, bam, blows out right front tire right in the wall, and he's got some major repairs right now going on.
Keselowski currently off the track, shown in 28th, Fallon.
And we're lined up for a restart here. Kasey Kahne is the new leader. Remember, they changed just right side tires on his pit stop. Everybody else took 4 fresh tires.
He's Kahne unable to get going, really spinning the tires there. You can see the advantage for Logano and Harvick on the inside.
Hamlin down to the apron, 4 wide into turn 1 there.
Larson got pinned behind that 5-car, Kasey Kahne, on that bad start. Now he's trying to find a little running room on the outside. Gets by Kahne.
Kahne trying to get it going, but he's being passed on both sides. Larson around the top, Ryan Newman around the bottom, and now Joey Logano back in the race lead with Kevin Harvick pursuing him.
You know, 2 tires is not a bad situation when you've got a lot of others that do the same thing. But when you're racing against 4, not going to work out too well for you.
Kevin's got to run. And he's through. So Harvick first, Logano second, Truex third, Larson fourth, side by side for fifth, Newman and Kahne.
Yeah, Kahne really slipped up going off of turn 2 last time. Gave Newman a big run. He's able to complete the pass now, going in the top 5. Larson going by for the 3rd spot.
And up front, Logano with another rally back around Harvick. I'll see your lap lead and raise you one. And for 3rd place, Larson around the outside of Truex. So the top 3 before the pit stops, now back in the top 3 positions after the pit stops, although the order shuffled up a little bit.
And I think it takes a couple of laps if you're committed to that high line for the air pressures to come up in the tires before that really feels comfortable and you can make speed up there. Probably what that was about with Logano for a minute. That's where he wanted to run, didn't want to press the issue down the bottom. And if you can run up there, generally you can take care of the tires, and especially that right front issue, a little bit better than if you're trying to go around the bottom, having to put a little more steering wheel into it.
So 21 cars on the lead lap. Landon Cassill got the free pass at the caution for the Brad Keselowski issue, and Joey Logano once again the race leader. Vince.
Well, and Logano radioed into crew chief Todd Gordon to alert him to the fact that he took off even tighter this run. Remember, that was his complaint from the previous run as well. So they did make a slight adjustment, but even tighter on takeoff for Logano on this run. So they'll likely address that. They did, by the way, assure Logano that his right front tires have looked good all day long. He was obviously concerned about what happened to Brad Keselowski, his teammate, but they told him your right front looks great.
You want to make that driver feel, you know, like everything's okay, because there's not a lot he can do, but I would be a little concerned after seeing that 2-car blow that right front. We've seen at least 3 failures on that right front corner today.
I want to explore what you think might be going on here and what some of these teams remaining in the race might be thinking about it in a minute. Kasey Kahne, Ryan Newman for 5th place. which you can continue to see in our NASCAR Nonstop coverage. 95 laps to go in race 1 of the contender round of the chase, and we have sure had some unexpected exclamation points in this one so far. Joey Logano leads this race for second place between Kevin Harvick and Kyle Larson, with now 89 laps to go here today at Kansas Speedway. ESPN's all in for coverage of the World Series of Poker. The best players in the world put it all on the line for the biggest bets, raises, and bluffs. The World Series of Poker telecast presented by Gentleman Jack tonight at 9 and 10 on ESPN and live on Watch ESPN. We have had some in our NASCAR race at Kansas today for whom the chips are down.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to go all in these next couple of races.
Jimmie Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Brad Keselowski. Johnson bumped in the left rear and crashed. The other two suffering right front tire failures, it would appear, that both took them in the wall. Here's that race for second place still.
It's going to be much of a race at this point. Kevin Harvick realizing that 42 a little faster at this point in time.
So Kyle Larson up to the number 2 spot. Let's talk about this tire situation. Dale Jr. and Brad Keselowski, we both saw with right fronts very visibly going down and throwing them into the wall. Both had very good, fast race cars. As Jr. comes back out from the garage area and rejoins the race, by the way, 57 laps down in 39th place. Theories, I know we're up here in the booth and not working on the race cars or driving them, but theories on what we might be seeing. I mean, we expected crashes and yellow flags today, but I don't know that we expected this.
Yeah, I think the one thing from a driver's standpoint that you, Andy, I look at it, and my explanation might be a little bit simple. It's probably much deeper than this, but just thinking about what may be happening. A tuning tool that they have is camber in the right front. We talk about how hard these tires are, needing to get some grip, make the car turn a little bit better. You overdo that, you've got long straightaways to wear the inside of the tire out and create a problem, but could be deeper than that.
Well, I mean, camber does. There is a performance advantage to playing with the right front camber. It does come with some risk, and I didn't see this coming, so I didn't realize this was going to be an issue. But it seems like it is. This track, though, I talked to some of the crew chiefs this morning, has some of the highest loads in that right front because of the speeds that we're seeing that they see anywhere. And the one thing that you can't really change the camber during the race, so you can't really control it. The other guys, I'm sure, are nervous. The one thing that they can do is to keep their cars as free as they can and still be fast enough. Okay, I'll try to take a little bit of that pressure off of the right front. And we heard Joey Logano saying that this is like the tightest he's been. He's fast, and that worries me a little bit.
Now, if you are behind the wheel, if you're the crew chief on top of the box and you've seen this going on, does it change your thought process, how you drive, how you adjust on the car as the race goes forward?
Yeah, it definitely changes my perspective. And I'll probably, I would be talking to the driver a little bit. Hey, look, I want to know just how tight you are. How much wheel are you putting in it? Can we free it up a little bit? Maybe take a little pressure off that right front.
Yeah, and as a driver, I want to know just how bad is my tire, or give me the real information there. And do I need to adjust that? Yes. Okay. If we free this up, then I'm going to have to change the way that I attack this racetrack a little bit and see if I can help that right front situation. And the question, Andy, you talked about the higher loads here. Now, this has progressive banking, 17 to 20. Now, does that go up? We see them running high because you're getting into that higher banking. Does that have any effect on it at all?
Well, it could for sure. And the driver can change the way that car drives a little bit by his style and take a little pressure off that right front. But the problem with, like the 2 car, I don't think that you would have seen any visible sign of any problems before that tire blew out. And I think that's the issue. I think they look really great until they don't.
Jeff Gordon passing Paul Menard for 9th, continuing to rally from when that tire rolled away from his car on the pit stop. Gordon had lost track position earlier when he had to make a pit stop out of sequence with some of the others when he and Jamie McMurray had a little dust up off turn number 4, and that 24 car scraped the outside wall.
Yeah, Gordon and Kyle Busch have made their way back inside the top 10 now, so nice rally for them. Kasey Kahne hanging on this 5 car with just those 2 tires that he got.
Actually gaining back a position there by passing Martin Truex Jr. for 5th place. So still 80 laps to go in this one. Joey Logano's built a 3-second lead on Kyle Larson, the second-place car. 21 on the lead lap. And all of us wondering, what's the next shoe to drop, if you will, here in this one at Kansas. Good to see Joey Gase climb from his car at the accident scene there in the middle of turns 3 and 4. That's put us under caution for the 6th time in this one today at Kansas. Gase, the young 21-year-old, just making his 2nd NASCAR Sprint Cup Series start. We've seen Joey the last 2 seasons in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and this day certainly did not come to an end the way he was hoping.
I really believe he might have had a left rear tire that went down.
The way he was slowing up going in the corner, and then it turned around on him like that.
Turned around on him. Jeff Gordon, great job of dodging that.
Pit road closed for the moment while they attended to that scene. Now pit road's going to be open this time by, and we'll see all the leaders in. It has been 30 laps since they last pitted.
Yeah, but after what I saw out of the 5 car on that 2-tire stop, I'd be a little gun-shy on that. I think I might go for 4 if I was up front.
Yeah, he ended up hanging up there in the top 5, Casey Kane did with that. But I just think it's a much better strategy right now to take on the 4.
Well, what scares you is the restart. I mean, he gets you in a bad position right there.
Sure.
Here come the leaders. Dave?
Kyle Larson runs in 2nd. He said the balance that time was pretty much the same. They'll just go with right side tires this time. Sunoco fuel, a little adjustment to accommodate that 2-tire stop. Doc?
Ryan Newman, 4 tires, fuel, got to clean the grill, temperature going up a little bit to get a windshield tear off. No changes. Vince.
The 22 of Joey Logano, a tick loose in traffic, going to go half round down on the left rear. It's going to be a 4-tire change for Kevin Harvick. Right sides only for Harvick, still a little bit too free.
Looks like we got 3 of them that went for the 2-tire strategy.
If you're free, those right sides could tighten you up just a little bit.
So the new leader in this one will be Kevin Harvick as they continue to work on Brad Keselowski's car back in the garage. Doubled up for the restart here at Kansas. A quick moment to update you on the driver who's led the most laps today, brought to you by Sprint. Joey Logano out in front by 1 more than Kevin Harvick to this point in the race. Stay connected to the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup with the Sprint Family Share Pack. 20 gigabytes of high-speed data to share, plus unlimited talk and text for $100 a month. Learn more at sprint.com/datashare. More on the 22 from Vince.
And with crew chief Todd Gordon, you've stuck with the 4 tires all day long. You did so there. Maybe touch on that. Plus, did you get all the fuel in that you'd hoped to on that last stop?
We're about a half a gallon short. I got a little nervous there when he pulled out and told me no, but he got almost everything he needed to. We're fine with where we need to be, and we need to take 4 there so we can set ourselves up for a 2-tire stop here at the end.
How far away are you from making it to the finish?
We're right at it. I mean, it's a one-can stop from here.
Thanks, Todd. Alan?
So the front 2 in front of Logano, Harvick and Larson, taking just right side tires on their pit stop. Jamie McMurray speeding on pit road. He had taken just rights, but he has to go back to the end of the line. 21st place.
Good spot. It's going to take a lot to beat this 22, though. Right on
their game, and they've seemed to be able to keep up the race really well. And I think just the good decisions that we've seen from Todd Gordon is going to pay off for them.
It's really been great over the last, well, almost 2 years now to watch Todd Gordon and Joey Logano come together as a driver and a crew chief and making each one better and challenging each other to make these cars faster. And we see now it's paying off with a car capable of winning every week. And when they don't win, they're a top 5 car.
11th place here, 9 Marcos Ambrose, 3 Austin Dillon. And behind them, Clint Boyer and Carl Edwards. for 13th and 14th, all for lead lap spots.
Yeah, Austin had a solid day in that 3 car. He lost a few spots there on that restart, but now going back forward.
So Austin up around Ambrose into the number 11 position. Kyle Busch 18, Kasey Kahne 5. That's Kahne taking 6th place from Kyle.
Kasey Kahne, another one of those cars, and we talked about it when he got to 2 tires, but it just looks like it really struggles on low air pressure to get up to speed and get going. Loses a few spots. Once this air pressure come up, starts moving back forward.
Yeah, but he did get 4 tires on that last stop.
Now, I know what you're thinking when I say long. He's hoping for a long green run to the finish. And you're saying, well, Kansas, all the cautions we've had here the last couple of years, no way, right? To borrow the words of our friend Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. Last 2 green flag runs, the last green flag run, the last 2 races here, 19 laps and 60 laps. So of all the yellow fever we've had at Kansas, we've still had a relatively long run to the checkered flag. 61 laps to go in this one. Joey Logano, the race leader. There's Joey Logano, the race leader here at Kansas Speedway, looking down on this beautiful 1.5-mile track from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learned making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Logano's lead, 1.09 seconds over Kyle Larson, who has chipped into it in the last several laps around. Still a pretty significant gap, but Larson closing a little bit. Kevin Harvick has faded well back in 4.6 seconds behind in 3rd place. Ryan Newman and Kasey Kahne now round out your top 5. Check out the biggest movers in the race, those who've done a lot of the passing today. Presented by Cars.com. All drive, no drama. Matt Kenseth. Surprise, shows up in the top 10. Kevin Harvick slowing. What's happening, Vince?
He's radioed in and believes he has a flat right front. So keep an eye on Kevin Harvick coming to pit road. He is coming now and says he believes it's the right front down.
If he manages to catch it without crashing, like some of the others that he's racing for this championship earlier today, then that would be a very significant moment to remember.
4 tires here, 4 tires, 4 tires.
It looks like the tire's up. He may have something that he felt, maybe with those cords unwinding. You can hear that from the cockpit. He may have been just lucky enough to catch it before it blew out.
See what we could see when the tire comes off the car here.
Hard to tell from there.
Yeah. All right, Vince will follow up on that for us down on pit road after the crew has a chance to look things over. What are they saying, Vince?
All 4 tires are up, Alan. All 4 tires are up. So it looks as though maybe it was just something that Kevin was feeling from inside the car, but it doesn't at this point, and they certainly have the team members that are going over them with a fine-tooth comb, but at this point it does not look like he had a tire down.
So that leaves Kevin about a lap and 3/4 behind race leader Joey Logano. But because he stopped with 51 laps to go, that puts him on the edge of a fuel window there to make it to the finish, on the edge of one.
Yeah, if it goes green from here, he can probably make it to the finish. I don't know if he can count on that. I'm sure he's nervous about being the lap down that he is now, but if it does go green, it might work out.
Yeah, he kind of needs one of 2 things to happen for it not to be devastating. He needs for it to run to the end and be able to make it on that fuel, or he would need a quick caution here where they would maybe come in, get their tires, he could take a wave around and get back on the lead lap.
Now another car slowing and giving up some positions here, and possibly reporting a problem is Matt Kenseth. He was 9th. Doc, he's dropped back to 10th and maybe 11th here.
Yeah, Matt, just a moment ago on the radio said suddenly it's gotten loose and it is vibrating and it is shaking. He said he thinks he's got a left rear tire that may be either coming apart or going down. He has backed off to get some room and slow down, and they have the crew up on the wall waiting for him to come down pit road. It is his choice if he comes or not.
I can understand these guys being gun-shy from what we've seen today. Matt is going to bring it to pit road.
All right, about pit road speed there.
So I'm talking about waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Yeah.
There's a couple of them. Harvick and now Kenseth on pit road for green flag starts.
4 tires when you get here. 4 tires, 7 away.
Wow, from 27 starting spot all the way to the top 10, running ninth after having damage to the right front. They had made a chassis adjustment with wedge, and suddenly they have this issue. They are pointing toward the left rear. They will check it. He's at 4 tires. He's away.
Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr. for 5th place.
Tremendous rebound with Kyle Busch, what he's been able to do after that speeding penalty going to the back, between others having problems and his car being pretty good and being patient. He coming away from here with a really good day at Kansas.
But all the way back to 22nd place at lap 124 after that speeding penalty on pit road, looking for his first ever top 5 finish in a Sprint Cup Series race here at Kansas Speedway.
Amazing all the chase drivers we're seeing have issues here today of some kind.
Long list. So Kyle running 5th, Joey Logano leading, 44 laps, and who knows what else still to go at Kansas. We go NASCAR Nonstop today, presented by Sunoco.
Back at Kansas Speedway, Kasey Kahne is on pit road. He said his car was the tightest it's been on this run. He was getting a little concerned about it, so he pitted within the fuel window. Kenny told him, pit now if you want to, and he did. He has fuel to go to the end, and now 4 fresh tires.
Can't speed getting out of there.
But the concerns continue. Got one on the wall. Turn 4. Drifting down the track in front of other people, it is Greg Biffle, and the caution flag is out. Greg Biffle running in 13th at the time. And some pretty good left front damage, it would appear, on that 16 car.
It looks like that might have been the issue for him. It's down in turns 1 and 2 when the 9 and the 16 got together. And I believe that left front went down. That was up in 3 and 4.
So yellow flag number 7 in this race. A race is a
Just lefts.
A race is a big gap Joey Logano and Kyle Larson had over the rest of the pack. Set some interesting circumstances for Kevin Harvick, Kasey Kahne, and Matt Kenseth. And now here come the leaders to pit road for stops with 37, what'll be 36 laps to go. Got to change all 4 here, right?
No. I'm not sure about that. Not everybody, anyway.
All right, Dave.
From second comes Kyle Larson. He called his car borderline too loose. See if they go for the left side tires. They will. 4 tire stop for Larson. Jamie?
Kyle Busch said he just needs help on entry. Just breathe through the center. It's going to be 2 tires. He's down and away. 6.2. Doc?
Ryan Newman thinking about fuel only. Couldn't take a chance. Called it for right sides and fuel. Vince?
It's been 4 all day long for Joey Logano. No change here, no chassis adjustments, just 4 fresh tires and Sunoco fuel to get to the end for Logano.
All right, some people going to gamble for the track position. Ryan Newman first off the pit lane. What should be a very interesting 35-lap run to the finish coming up. Doubling up for the restart that's going to come with 33 laps to go here at Kansas Speedway. And an interesting new picture to this race. After all of the difficulties that drivers involved in the group of 12 competing for the championship in this contender round have had today, some strategy just played now makes Ryan Newman the race leader. A quick cataloging of some of those difficulties today. Jimmie Johnson, Dale Jr., Brad Keselowski all back in the race. Jr. and Keselowski having right fronts go down. Jr. while leading this race. Harvick, Matt Kenseth, and Kasey Kahne all with green flag pit stops just before the yellow came out. They've all three taken a wave around to come back onto the lead lap. They'll be back in 20th, 21st, and 22nd places. And when you look at the drivers and where they're running on the right side and where the cut line would be a couple of races from now, there's some ground to make up for the 2, the 88, and the 48.
This too shall change shortly.
I think so. What should be a very intense restart about to unfold. That is Clint Bowyer rim riding around turns 1 and 2 in that white and pink 15. Newman leads. Logano's gotten to second.
Yeah, this time Kyle Larson's able to stay right on the bumper of the 22 car. That could be beneficial. They have 4 tires.
Kasey Kahne has scuffed the wall in the 5. Caution for the Kahne car.
Caution's out. Caution's out. Get ready, guys.
Bad to worse for Kasey. Was running 18th at the time. Had just taken the wave around to get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's had just such a struggle with his car on these restarts. Just cannot get a handle on it at all.
He's got the fenders pretty good. Probably the right rear corner pretty good.
Yeah, here's Kasey Kahne as he goes into the corner. Looks like he might just barely touch it on the entry. But that's not where the problems start. Right here, gets loose and no room to catch it.
You can see just they tried to really power up and try to drive around the outside of these cars hard into the wall a couple of different times. A lot of damage to the right side.
Top and 3, middle's good. Inside right now. Hold up there, hold it up there. Into the wall, guys. 2 more to come by after the 34 here.
2 hands a wheel over the top trying to catch that thing.
He was busy.
Yeah, when you have a car that you've been struggling with, the outside is not really where you want to be on a restart till the air pressures get built up. You can see the issues that it caused for Kasey Kahne. Another chase driver, big issues.
So Kasey Kahne into the wall. All 4 Hendrick Motorsports cars have had problems today. You'll see some pit stops as we go NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Sunoco.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Kansas is presented by Dodge Dart. Don't touch it. And in part by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
Doubled up for a restart. That'll come with 28 laps to go in this one. Pit stops for the cars that took the wave around. Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, along with Greg Biffle. Kasey Kahne has returned to the race. After his crew has worked on his car, he has stayed on the lead lap. Harvick's back in 19th. Ryan Newman's the control car for the restart. He's on the outside lane with Joey Logano to his left.
Kyle Larson able to get out of that 3 wide situation. That might be the move that'll give him any chance to win this race.
Logano leads. Kyle Busch second. Larson third, Truex fourth, Edwards fifth, Newman shuffled back to sixth.
How about Kyle Busch running second? Maybe he'll break that Kansas curse.
I don't think he's going to be second, but he might get third. Kyle Larson's coming in a hurry once again.
Logano out there in clean air. He better dispose of Kyle Busch quickly, right?
Yeah, he can't waste any time right here if he's going to have any chance. And he's not going to waste any time.
So Larson to second. And we'll see if Larson can eat into the lead of Logano any. A little bit further back in the pack, trying to see if Kevin Harvick's making any progress through. He's in 13th place. There's Kevin.
He's doing okay. He's not the car that I'm seeing making progress from back there. It's the one of Jamie McMurray again making some progress moving up through, but he's a ways back. He'll need another caution to have a shot at this.
All things considered, circumstances working out okay for Harvick and Kenseth to try and recover from the green flag pit stops. There's McMurray, and you see the scoring run on him.
Well, Harvick got in a really bad spot off of turn 2. Looked like he's going to lose a couple of spots, but Clint Bowyer kind of gave him a break there instead of putting him in a 3-wide situation.
So 23 laps to go. Joey Logano, the leader. One of the stories of the day has been what's going on with some of these leaders that's caused the right front tire issues and the cars that were contending for the win to get into the wall. Dave Burns has more on this for us.
And Alan, we've asked Greg Stucker, Goodyear's director of racing, to join us now. Greg, what issues have you seen, if any, with your engineers, maybe specific to the 88 and the 2 who are chase contenders?
We saw what we think were a couple right fronts, obviously, that went down. Trying to figure out exactly, what the issue is with the team. Obviously, a race like this in the chase, everybody's kind of up on the wheel and really pushing the envelope. We started the race with a full green run, and tires really look beautiful up and down pit road. So we'll have to sit down with the team and try to make sure we understand if they made any adjustments or what was different about those particular runs versus what we've seen, before that and since that.
Thanks for the input, Greg. By the way, the 42, Kyle Larson, the lefts that came off of that, they said, boy, that's a good thing we got those off because those were close on where they put on 4 this time. They should be good to the end.
All right, Dave, thanks. It is kind of puzzling because we did have that long, over 100-mile green flag run to start the race and so on. So certainly something for everyone to digest in the post-mortem here after this race in Kansas.
Yeah, that's what Greg Stucker was talking about. You expect the worst part of the race is that first part when the track's fairly green. That's the hardest section of the race for the tire, and they didn't see any problems then, and then they started popping up.
They're watching Harvick try to make his way as he ride along with Clint Bowyer here, but Harvick's inability to run the middle and top of the racetrack and make any speed is keeping him from moving any further forward. Just can't get that race car to carry the speed that he needs down on the bottom.
Harvick there in the 4 in 13th place, trying to get around Brian Vickers for 12th. Vince?
Well, that's been the situation the entire day for Kevin Harvick. He has just not been able to run that top half of the track where so many others are making speed, and they've made adjustments to the chassis and done air pressure adjustments, everything they can to try to get Kevin to be able to get up top and run. This hasn't worked out, hasn't been their day today as we thought it would be.
Another day of a really fast race car that led a lot of laps. But whatever it was that brought Kevin Harvick to pit road at lap 214, remember he suspected he had a right front maybe going down, and all 4 of the tires wound up being up. Whatever it is left Harvick fighting just to get back into the top 10. Ryan Newman shuffled from 1st to 6th after the restart, trying to hang on to a spot as Jamie McMurray in that 1 continues to charge. More on Newman from Doc.
Yeah, a minute ago when Ryan Newman was the leader on the restart and some of the cars laid back, Luke Lambert was pretty upset and went to the NASCAR officials and said, what are the rules on the restart? What's going on here? He said, can you lay back on the restart like that? Not very happy as this driver now gets passed by McMurray on the track.
All right, so Ryan Newman falling back now to 7th place.
Yeah, just up in front of there, our in-race reporter, Carl Edwards, who has struggled a big portion of this day. Between others having problems and making some adjustments, he's got him a top 5 car right now. I would say that Carl would say this was outstanding if he can come home in 5th.
Yeah, I talked to Jimmy Finnick this morning. He said top 10 would be a good run for them today.
And Carl talked about the format of the championship, and given where their team has been this season, that the structure was kind of made for them. Because after those first 3 races, the points were reset to 0. They got to come into this round where they figured they can run well here, and they can run well at Charlotte, and then go to Talladega where they have their super speedway package, Ross Fenway, a chance to win. Whether they need to or not, they'll run well. And so he thought, we got through the first round, we can get through the second round. Who knows? We can win it.
And all the while, they keep working on their cars to get them faster.
So Carl there with Jamie McMurray getting past him. McMurray in the 5th and Carl now in 6th position.
And we're seeing the speed out of this one car on this run that we saw early in the race. I'd watched him. Matter of fact, I pointed at Andy earlier, wanted to know what was wrong with him because he had fallen way back. It was only about a quarter of a lap from going a lap down. So I don't know if he had something that didn't make him feel too good. I know that they had some issues to have to start in the rear.
Remember, we've heard people talk about how difficult the air is when you get back in traffic. And remember, Jamie got that pit road speeding penalty back at lap 192. It sent him from 3rd all the way back to 21st.
And it seems to stack up. The further back you are, the worse it is.
Let's see if Larson's running any faster than Logano.
Just barely the last few laps. He is inching his way there. Has been. Just a little bit.
Six-tenths of a second back with 12 laps to go.
If he can get a little bit closer here as he inches his way there.
He can make Logano start looking in that mirror, spend a little more time looking back than looking forward.
Anytime you do that, it takes your focus on what you have to be doing as a driver, which is hitting all of your marks, getting the very most out of the car.
Kyle Busch running in 3rd, Jamie.
Well, it has been a good weekend for Kyle Busch at one of his worst racetracks, and you think the guy is a little uneasy when he comes here. He's had some bad runs, 4 DNFs, all accidents, 2 being last year. Now, I talked to Dave Rogers, and Kyle ran the Nationwide Series race yesterday and won it, and Dave said that alone is so good for Kyle's confidence because this track just isn't suitable for his style, his driving style, so he learned some things yesterday. The car has had good speed, but guys, he just said on the radio as you threw to me, I'm not sure it's going to last. You better make a plan. I'm not sure what that means, but the team is looking around.
Well, something to keep an eye on for the 3rd place runner, Kyle Busch. Kyle Larson continuing to close on Joey Logano as they've caught the end of the field and begin to work some lap traffic.
Yeah, remember a couple runs ago, whenever they got in traffic, Larson was able to close right up on his bumper. They've got going to be having some more traffic issues here soon.
Yeah, this kind of forces Logano to run in dirty air. He hasn't had that clean air when he gets up next to these other lap cars. And evens the playing field a little bit because Larson's been running in the wake of that 22 for quite a few laps.
A little wiggle there by Larson, exiting 4.
Oh, it's everything this 42 will do right now.
Yeah.
Not that Logano's not putting forth that same effort. Hey, this would be such a huge statement and relief for this 22 team if they're able to get through here, punch their ticket on into that next round.
I can tell you somebody that doesn't care a bit about that. That's Kyle Larson.
And
he'd love to spoil that.
And on the other side of that issue, a lot of people have talked about what happens if some non-chasers win a couple of these races. Talking about the squeeze in the bubble of pressure at Talladega. Well, there it is, first to second, as they go around the David Gilliland car. Logano and Larson.
How good has Larson been? You think we talk about Logano in all top 5 finishes, but just think about the job that Larson's done in all of these chase races so far.
Yeah, you almost have to go back to Michigan. We've got a problem with his teammate, though, here with Jamie McMurray.
Off the pace, turn 3.
For Larson, you have to go back to Michigan, where he had a problem, crashed, or either blew a tire or whatever, put him in the wall there. That's really what knocked him out of the chase, or he'd be right there.
Oh, saw Jamie McMurray. Looked like the left front tire just blew out on that car.
He was on pit road.
Probably what was wrong with it. He slowed from 5th place. And we stay under green. 5 to go. Larson stalking Logano. 3 more lap cars just ahead.
Couple of them side by side here. Could make it interesting.
Casey Mears moving down, yielding the top lane to the leader. David Reagan next ahead in the 34.
Good job by David Reagan there, getting down out of the way. He'd been running that high line, but understood the situation here. Ooh, Larson's still getting it off.
If he didn't scrape it, there wasn't enough room for another coat of paint on the side of that car.
I'm sure we all remember watching him run the truck race at Eldora, so he's not afraid to get it up there and bounce it off there a couple of times.
3 laps to go.
Logano now just pulled just enough gap to breathe.
Yeah.
And a little clear racetrack ahead. They're almost 6 seconds ahead of 3rd place Kyle Busch. 2-car race for the moment unless circumstances change in these final couple of laps. At stake for Logano, a pass through into the 3rd round of the chase without having to worry about what happens in Talladega. At stake for Larson, that coveted precious first NASCAR Sprint Cup Series win. They'll see the white flag this time. If you see a car slow on the apron, it's Jamie McMurray. She's back out but limping around down at the bottom of the racetrack.
Got the white flag.
1 lap to go.
Good exit, still good by 5.
Final corner for Joey Logano. All top 5 finishes in the first 3 races of the chase, and he opens the contender round with a victory and a pass through on. Joey Logano wins it at Kansas.
You guys did a pass! Woo! Awesome run, man. Awesome run. When you get done, guys. When you get done. 5, baby! Yeah! But what a job, guys. That makes Talladega a whole lot easier. Hell yeah, it does. Mission accomplished.
That says it all. Joey Logano wins at Kansas, his 5th victory of the season. He's automatically through to the 3rd round of the chase. A day that saw many of his other 11 rivals for the title have various problems through the day. 3 of which are going to have a big hole to dig out of at Charlotte before we get to Talladega.
Watch him celebrate, Alan. Just look back through the field a little bit. Martin Truex with another outstanding run, a top 5 this time. Just keeps getting better and better. Austin Dillon with 8th place.
Yeah, all 3 of the RCR cars top 10.
Harvick came back for 12th. Kenseth 13th. Jeff Gordon ended up 14th. And Casey came 22nd. It's coming one day soon. Yep.
Yep. He's close there. Almost there.
One day soon. Well, there's more than a little to talk about after this one today at Kansas. We will talk about it after we go NASCAR Nonstop, presented by Sunoco. Race 1 of the contender round of the chase is over here at Kansas. You are seeing the finishing order come across the top of the screen during our NASCAR nonstop coverage. And Joey Logano celebrating another victory, our Goodyear Superior performer today. Logano led the most laps in this one, 122 of the 267, twice as many as the second most laps led, which was Kevin Harvick. So the big numbers on the day, the plus or minus now 8th place, because that is where the cut line will be after Talladega. And you see that Brad Keselowski, Dale Jr., and Jimmie Johnson all have some ground to make up at Charlotte next week after Keselowski and Earnhardt Jr. had problems with right fronts on their car. Junior's while leading, and Jimmie Johnson got involved. He got hit in the left rear and crashed off of turn number 2 earlier in the race. So Logano through with the win. Doesn't have to worry, as you heard from him, about Talladega in a couple of weeks, because he's on to the 3rd round in his quest for a championship. Joey's driven into Victory Lane. Our Victory Lane presented today by 5-Hour Energy.
The celebration is on in Kansas for Joey Logano and this 22 team. 4 chase races, 2 wins for the 22. What's going through your mind those final 20 laps when you've got the lead, but you know Kyle Larson's chasing for you from behind?
They've been fast the last few weeks. They're definitely the fastest on chaser for sure. And he was up in my lane. You know, the 2 of us were up in the top there, and we were able to make our cars pretty equal. And I felt like whoever's up front was going to win that race there. So I was able to have a good start and get the lead, and then just basically take his air away and get through and make sure I worked the traffic good and all that. So what a Shell Pennzoil team I got. What a Ford I got here. Man, it's just been a lot of fun this season. Just getting us to the next round, that's awesome. Jesus.
We heard you say that this takes the suspense, so to speak, out of Talladega and all the concerns that race brings. Well, what kind of statement does it make for this team? 4 chase races, 2 victories.
It means a lot. You know, it says, you know, Team Penske is where we need to be. You know, unfortunately, Brad didn't have the best day, but we had you know, a couple fast forwards coming into here, and man, I just got to thank, you know, AAA and AutoZone and Auto Trader, all the guys that help us out here at Team Penske. There's also a cool promotion on you know, Shell's Facebook about saving some 22 cents a gallon. So some really cool things going on here. It's so much fun. I'm having a blast this year, and we got a real shot at winning this championship, and I feel like we're one of the teams to beat. So having fun with it.
Coolest thing for Joey Logano? Victory Lane celebration. Alan?
Vince, thanks. Joey Logano had only 3 career wins entering this season. Now he's won 3 of the last 7 races and won 5 in all this year. Todd Gordon and his driver Joey Logano celebrating with their team in Kansas Speedway's Victory Lane. Top 10 finishers today.
Interesting mix of chasers there. Some guys, Kyle Busch certainly looking for a good run here, was able to make that happen.
You mentioned Martin Truex and Austin Dillon cracking the top 10. Kyle Larson finishing 2nd today. Jamie?
Well, he got out of his car and he said, if we were just in the chase, no kidding, you're knocking off these top 5s. Where was Joey just a little bit better than you at the end?
I don't know if he was any better than us, and I don't know if I was better than him. I thought we were pretty equal. We were running about the same laps there the last run, and our target Chevy was really good. We had to work on it there some the first run. We were pretty loose and got some track position and held it the rest of the race, and just a good finish. Just we were so even, I couldn't do anything. I was hoping I could get a run on him in traffic, but all the lappers were giving us the top, so it kind of made it, you know, pretty easy for him to run the top. But you know, another second, you can't be too disappointed in it. You know, the wins will be coming, so I just got to be patient. Like I've said, every time I've been in the top 3, I think, you know, getting close like this is just gonna make the win feel that much better. So thanks to Chip, Felix, Target, everybody that sponsors this race car. We've been really fast lately, so hoping we can start clicking off some wins.
Kyle Larson said, next week is another 1.5 miles. Look out. Let's go to Doc.
With Brad Keselowski. Brad, what happened with the right front?
Yeah, we a little tired. Not really sure why. Just didn't really have an aggressive setup or anything in the car. Just a little tired.
Any warning at all, or any idea beforehand you were having an issue with the right front?
No, it's just Russian roulette, and it was our turn.
Brad Keselowski finishes 36th.
Jeff Gordon finishes 14th on the afternoon. A lot of contact out there and then several tire issues. What did you experience today, Jeff?
It was a handful, that's for sure. I mean, we were having a pretty solid day with our Drive-In Hunger Chevrolet until the one car got loose and got into our left rear. You know, just way over his head. I know he had a good car. He's been running good, but he just got loose, got into me, got me in the wall. We had a little damage, but we lost all that track position, and it's so hard to get it back at this place. And we somewhat got it back, and you know, on that last restart, I was just real loose. I'd been a little loose, but not that loose, and you know, we just fell back. It just wasn't good, and we just kind of struggled and hung on there. But a lot of people had trouble today, so today was a real survival day. We did that. I just felt like, you know, we could have finished a lot better than that. We had a good race car. We actually really had a great race car.
They're going to another good Jeff Gordon track next week.
Kyle Busch finally gets it done after all these years. A top 5 at Kansas. You finished 3rd even after a speeding penalty. What does that say about this team moving forward in the chase, Kyle?
Well, it says good things about us. You know, this M&M's Camry was awesome today. I can't say enough about Dave Rogers and the fight in this 18 bunch. They've done a really good job this year, this chase time, and you know, it's a matter of just trying to keep piecing these things together like that. So mile and a halves haven't been our strong suit this year. I think our best finish is a 3rd, maybe a 2nd at Kentucky, but you know we got some work to do in our program. Those 2 guys up front just left us. They were flat out flying today. And I'm sure there were a couple other cars that were good enough to finish, you know, 3rd, 4th, 5th. We probably were about 6th or 7th, but we'll take a 3rd. It feels good to come out of here, especially Kansas, get a top 5 here. And, you know, I think it's just, for me, it's all about places widening out. You know, you got to have options. And places that you run one lane all around the bottom, Michigan here, until they're seasoned, you know, those repays are just no fun because it's just follow the leader, you know. But here today, it was all over the place. I'm actually shocked we got up to the wall today. So, pretty impressive. It's fun to do, and again, you know, great job, my guys.
All right, good news for Kyle Busch. We're going on to Charlotte next week.
Kevin Harvick come back to 12th this afternoon. Kevin, how would you assess the day?
I thought I had a flat tire and pitted just because, you know, you see all the trouble that's going on. So missed it a little bit on the handling today. We qualified well and had good track position, and it saved us at the beginning of the race. And then I just, when I thought I had a flat, got us behind.
What explanation did you get about that, and do you have any idea then what it was?
Didn't turn.
Car did not turn. That was what he said based on what he was feeling, and it was time to come to pit road.
And Denny Hamlin brings it home 7th today. You guys ran up there in the top 10 the whole time. You had good speed, unlike your teammates in qualifying. What does this say about you guys as you move forward here with 2 more to go in this round?
Well, you know, it's kind of a best case scenario for us with our FedEx office team. Just, you know, solid day. We didn't think we were going to contend for a win here today, but we knew we could contend for a top 5, top 10 finish, and we did, and it's kind of best case scenario. So proud of our team. No mistakes on pit road. Just nice, smooth day. I saw those guys around us having a lot of issues, and you know, we don't have a lot of the speed that those guys have. So maybe if we can get them out in this round, then they'll give us a fighting chance when we get to the end of this thing.
That's pretty good. You have an electrical issue, and you still say you have a smooth day. That's Denny Hamlin, Nicole.
Well, the racing does continue tonight. The NHRA, they're in Reading, Pennsylvania. Finals tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. And the next weekend, we are in Charlotte, as everyone has been telling you. Friday night, 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. That is the Nationwide Series race. And, of course, the only night race of the chase, the Bank of America 500 at Charlotte. Saturday night, 7 o'clock Eastern. Join us on ABC. Inside the Quicken Loans ESPN pit studio after what can only be described as a almost disastrous day for Hendrick Motorsports. Jimmie Johnson, 40th, his worst performance in the chase since Homestead 2005.
Yeah, we really thought he was going to turn it around in these mile-and-a-half racetracks, but he just didn't get going all day long and ends up getting himself in a wreck with Greg Biffle, tears his car to smithereens, and all of a sudden, then we got Dale Jr. in the wall. We got the 5-car Casey Kane in the wall. We got the 24-car Jeff Gordon having problems. All the Hendrick Motorsports cars today had big problems, and so they got to lick their wounds and get over to Charlotte and try to fix it up over there, that's for sure.
Let's talk about Ryan Newman. When we entered this day, we talked about how consistently average he had been. Today, not so average.
Well, he ran well, and what we mentioned earlier is he's harder to pass than a kidney stone.
That's the words
very difficult to get around, but had a good day, put himself in good position, had good pit stops, had a chance to restart on the front row there, two restarts ago. wasn't able to hold all that track position, but was able to stay up and keep himself in the top 6. Good day for Ryan Newman.
Boy, surprising day.
Yeah, it was.
Cannot wait to see how the rest of this is going to play out, Alan.
All right, Nicole, thanks. And the next stage on which this chase will play out will be Charlotte Motor Speedway, with a race next Saturday night under the lights, the only night race in the chase. And then, of course, Talladega. And then the next round, Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix before the championship deciding race in South Florida. Join us at the track. I highly recommend it. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing how these final 6 races play out. Well, we stood here about 3.5 hours ago with Dale and Andy and talked about how drivers were looking at this contender round as being the most difficult one in the chase, or the one that made them the most nervous, and how this Kansas racetrack was so tricky. What we saw today was a difficult race, but not for reasons we expected.
No, certainly not. You know, we were trying to see who was going to make mistakes, who was going to get themselves involved in crashes, but we ended up with some issues that I don't think the teams expected, and certainly Goodyear didn't either, but it certainly has shaken things up. We don't see a top 8 that we were kind of expecting, and some that we thought were going to be in that still are a ways back. So very interesting race. It's going to make these next 2 even more important to these drivers as they try to catch up.
Yeah, one thing we expected was like a narrow groove, fast speeds, and some people getting out of shape and crashing. We saw the opposite of that. We saw a tremendous racetrack. I mean, the thing got really wide all the way through the corner, some good racing, but what a devastating day for Hendrick Motorsports. I mean, 3 of their cars are right now on the outside looking in, and Gordon is right there on the bubble spot. So it's really going to be a tough round for them.
And with the anything can happen nature of Talladega, where the 4-driver elimination will happen, big pressure on next Saturday night's 500-miler in Charlotte. Joey Logano, we know, is through onto that 3rd round of the chase, and let's talk with some more drivers with good finishes today. Down to Dr. Jerry Punch.
With Ryan Newman just climbing out with a 6th-place finish, Ryan. You guys had what looked like a really good car all day. Take us through that last restart. You're the leader. It looked like they shuffled on both sides.
Yeah, I was a leader in a sit and duck, I felt like. The first restart, I got a push, I think it was from the 22, and he shot me out just enough that I could run around the 18. But the next restart, I saw Kyle out there, and he was gaining, and I thought to myself, blocking was probably not the best thing to do in this position. So knew a lot of other guys were having a bad day. Could have been a little bit more aggressive on my part, but that would have put him more aggressive if he was in a bad mood. So good run for the Caterpillar Chevrolet. Got to thank all the guys to come from 17th up to 6th, and felt like we had definitely a top 3 or 4 car. You know, obviously, some of the guys had some misfortunes, but that's part of the game.
Well done by Ryan Newman.
So Kasey Kahne finishes 22nd on the afternoon. It seemed like parts of today were really good, and then other parts of it not so much.
Oh, man, the whole race was good, except, you know, we had a run in 3rd. We had something going on. I was catching the leaders again. The last half of the run, I could usually catch the leaders, and I was slowly reeling them back in, and something happened to my tire. I was just ready to crash for a lap and made it to pit road before it blew. And then we got behind and tried to come from 19th. You know, on the outside, I already passed like probably 5-6 cars and was feeling pretty good, and I just lost the back, hit the wall, and my day was over at that point. But we had a great Farmers Insurance Chevy. The pit crew did, pit stops were awesome. The guys prepared a good car, and Kenny called a great race. So it was all there. We had an easy top 3 car.
Kasey heads to Charlotte, where he's won before.
So ground to be made up for Kahne, Keselowski, Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmie Johnson. Right now, the 4 drivers on the outside of the top 8 looking in. And for Joey Logano, another tremendous performance.
Yeah, they certainly showed themselves. He talked about they could win a championship. They certainly can. But we're going to a tough, fast racetrack for 500 miles Saturday night. They could shuffle this up even more.
Yeah, there's a solid run for like the 18, the 99, 31. They're solidly in this thing now.
Primetime doubleheader in Charlotte. Friday night, the Nationwide Series, ESPN2, and Saturday night's Bank of America 500 on ABC. That's next weekend's NASCAR action. SportsCenter is next with more coverage from here in Kansas and the rest of the day's sporting news. Joey Logano wins today in Kansas City.